The Meta UFC rankings are out, and they've made a lot of interesting changes throughout every weight division. So firstly, what are the Meta UFC rankings? The Meta UFC rankings is a machine learning model's take on ranking the fighters in the UFC. As we may know, there's been a lot of problems with the current ranking system, given that it's based on the media and of course, people are biased. Paddy, for example, was ranked number 5 earlier this year, which boosted him into an undeserved title shot. Colby Covington, for the longest, was in the rankings even though he wasn't fighting for a very long time. So with Meta, the hope was that they could create some sort of machine learning model to create a more accurate ranking system that removed human bias and solely focused on statistics. The actual details or the feature set or how they're using statistics to measure if someone's better or worse than somebody else is vague. But big things to note from the Instagram video that was released by Meta with UFC is that it favors dominant wins and finishes over split decisions, and a fighter's rankings will decay due to inactivity. There's also no pound for pound rankings at the moment, which is really interesting. I would assume that's really hard to do without stirring up a lot of people, and the rankings in each division has already made a lot of people online very angry, so we probably won't be seeing pound for pound rankings anytime soon. So with all that being said, let's get into each division. I think the first crazy change definitely comes to lightweight. I've been using Paddy as an example of how bad the rankings are, and man, he takes another beating with Meta now dropping him to number 9. And you know what? I like it a lot. I broke down his resume here, and it's honestly not that good. His best win was a million-year-old Michael Chandler, and it really goes to show how much of an industry plant he was. This squarely puts him below Gamrot and Moicano, which I think makes a lot of sense. Interestingly though, Salkeld also becomes higher ranked than Paddy, which sounds crazy at first, given how young and new Salkeld is, but I think it's actually not the worst thing in the world. We were fooled into believing that Paddy was ready for Justin, or the title picture in general, after only a win over Michael Chandler, who was old and already had a shitty record coming in. Just numbers alone, Salkeld has a similar resume with his biggest win coming over an old contender in Beneil Dariush, who is also coming in with a losing record. And considering Salkeld finished a younger up-and-comer in Nasrat Hakparas before Beneil, which I thought was a really good win for him, I like him over Paddy, who's really only fought old heads. What I don't agree with is Rufi being below Paddy. He got a win over Fiziev, who interestingly enough is not in the rankings at all, which I think he should be. He beat a young Ignacio Bahamondes. I think from 7, I would have Rufi, Salkeld, Paddy, Fiziev. And then you'd boot like whoever's on the bottom of the rankings, like Rafa Garcia. But overall, I like Paddy dropping down to where he is and Salkeld coming up, especially when you look at their resumes. Featherweight also makes quite a few big changes. Biggest one is Yair getting cut out of the rankings altogether, which is fantastic. Why Yair is still ranked, I have no clue. Yair has not fought since his fight against Pitbull last year and is somehow still ranked at number 5 according to the media for God knows what reason. Patricio Pitbull has gone on to fight 2 more times, and Dan Ige and Aaron Pico. Diego Lopez, who he was beefing with at the press conference of his last fight, has gone on to fight 3 more times. So do I need to say more? Everyone below him has actually been active, and he deserves to be ranked below those guys. Pat Sabatini at number 7 was something that I wasn't expecting at all and is pretty damn insane. I know he's on a little win streak, but to be above Yusuf Zalal and all these guys, I don't know about that. And then finally at featherweight, we have Arnold Allen over Jean Silva, which makes no sense. Jean Silva literally beat Arnold Allen this year. Why the hell is he still below him? You also have the same situation in middleweight where Bo Nickel is above Rainier de Ritter, even though Bo Nickel got finished by RDR just last year. And then again in light heavyweight where Khalil is ranked below Jamal, which again makes no sense when Khalil beat Jamal, and Jamal Hill is on a 3-fight losing streak and hasn't won since 2023. Then we get on to welterweight, which sees a lot of new shifts as well. And speaking of guys being ranked above guys that beat them, we have Carlos Prates at number 1 and Ian Gary at number 2. Of course, I don't agree with this, and again, because Ian Gary beat Carlos Prates very clearly last year. Prates beating JDM recently probably shot his stock up, which granted was a very, very good win for Prates considering JDM was just champion and in his prime, and it was a finish. And I guess you add Leon there as well, and considering the model has finishes ranked highly amongst the feature set, I could see why a model would have Prates over Ian Gary, considering he finishes his opponents, but still, Gary outclassed Prates over the course of 5 rounds, and thus is a better fighter than him. Other things to note, Peyton Talbot is not in the rankings at bantamweight, which I think is really harsh. He doesn't have the best resume in the world, but he did do very well against Henry Cejudo and should be up there above guys like Montel Jackson, who lost his last fight, and Bryce Mitchell, who only has 2 wins in the division. Kevin Borjas in the rankings is absolutely insane at flyweight. He had a very good win over Andre Lima, who was looking really good and was undefeated before this, but straight to the rankings? Andre Lima wasn't even ranked himself before this either, and he took losses to Imanol Rodriguez and Sumar Darji, so I don't know how the model did this. I think heavyweight in general is a lot better though. Maybe Alex Pereira shouldn't be ranked number 4 already, but Derek Lewis out of the rankings makes a lot of sense, and I think overall the division makes a lot of sense with this new ranking. Look, a lot of people online are saying this is completely terrible and trash, but I think overall, in comparison to the media rankings and what the media has done in the past, I think this is neutral and a pretty good step in the right direction. I really like that it's harsh on activity. Guys like Yair should not be in the rankings at all, but what I really don't like is guys being ranked below guys that have beaten them, especially in the last year, and I think it's a simple fix. I'm talking to the meta engineers directly right now. For every fighter, make a set of fighters that have beat that fighter. Make another strict conditional statement that says something along the lines of, if fighter 1 is in the set of fighters fighter 2 has beat in the last year, fighter 1 is less than fighter 2 in the rankings. And essentially you sweep that across all the rankings in one method call at the end. And I think something like that would strictly enforce Ian Gary being above Carlos Prates and Khalil being over Jamal Hill. And you know what? If I have the meta engineers directly right now, I am not only an MMA YouTuber with extensive UFC knowledge, but I am also a software engineer with machine learning experience, and I've worked directly with UFC stats in the past in conjunction with machine learning. So if you want me to fix these rankings with both my UFC and machine learning knowledge, hit me up at my business email. All I require is $250,000 stock and benefits, and trust me, I will make the people happy with these rankings. But in all seriousness, I mean, I'm kind of serious with that last thing, but in all seriousness, what does this mean in terms of the UFC, who gets the title fights, and if the UFC is going to take these rankings seriously? Firstly, there would be way less Paddy situations. No way would he have been given that interim title shot against Justin earlier last year. Meta would have still placed Paddy at the lower half of top 10 probably, even though the rankings aren't perfect. This is only a first pass, and I'm sure given how angry people are online, they will fix it, and it seems like they are fixing it. I think this is, again, a pretty good step in the right direction, and especially if I lead this project and I get paid a lot, I think this thing can be perfect. What do you guys think about the meta rankings? What did it do good? What did it do bad on? Will it be fixed? Will I be the one who personally leads this project and gets paid a fuck ton of money? I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on the new ranking system, because as a software engineer, like I said before, this is very interesting work for me. And as a UFC fan, I just want to see the rankings become objective. But again, thank you guys for always supporting, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.